Killer is dead.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Killer is Dead, very hard difficulty video walkthrough. This is episode 8, She Who Dances in Dreams. So once again we've got a great title, and this is a pretty short mission compared to the ones we've been doing, and it's kind of different. The first thing you're going to notice is we do not have the gun on our arm, which means Mondo is still like vanilla human guy, which means he can't do the adrenaline burst stuff, he can't use the gun, he can't do a lot of things, so he's kind of just, you know, basic standard Mondo. So what you want to do here is you want to just guard, because I don't think you can counter yet, I don't think you've got that ability, and just fight the way you've been fighting the entire game, just at these, you know, restricted parameters. The mission as it stands is very short, it's very simple, it's just a couple of quick sequences of fights, and then a novelty boss fight which is very simple and easy and doesn't really, you know, pose much of a threat at all. Doesn't really pose much of logic either, because as I've mentioned, the narrative on this game is, you know, I don't even know why they bothered really, because what they've done is so worthless. It makes me wonder why they bother hiring all those writers, all those, you know, character designers, when they're not going to use any of it to build something interesting. And like Suda's job, I believe he's the creative director, because his name gets thrown around enough, and it's usually the creative director who gets that kind of treatment. You know, one of his jobs is to supervise the story. He probably has a massive amount of influence on it. Like, what the hell was the guy doing? Just sitting around jacking off? I don't get it. Very strange. But a couple of people have defended the sentimentality of the game and its, you know, proclivity towards just tasteless, you know, sexualization, and in the name of satire, which is quite a lot of it, just this apparently light-hearted, you know, perviness and general Suda design, which I don't agree with at all, because, like, objectively, none of that stuff offends me at all. It's got nothing to do with the morality of it. It's the fact it isn't good and it isn't fun. I think that's the most offensive part. You know, take away the fact that all the characters are flat and badly designed, all the script is terrible and just obfuscating, and then all the blatant, you know, objectification of women and tasteless scenes of just perviness. Like, take all that away, it's not fun and it's bad. And the funniest thing about it is it's apparently satiring James Bond. Yet James Bond is both funny, you know, charismatic, and he generally woos ladies in an awesome way. And I, for one, would love to see, you know, a minigame that involved a satire of James Bond, but this isn't, guys. This is staring at a pair of tits for 10 minutes filling a bar so that you can give somebody a present. And I've just got to the point in the game where my presents now consist of revealing underwear and lacy garments, which I can see by using a pair of glasses, because, you know, every man on the planet wants to stare at polygon tits all the time, because that's a fun and enjoyable game mechanic. And like, I just don't understand why people are making excuses for it. You know, this development team and other development teams have put in these little tenshi muyo, cheeky, ecchi kind of Japanese moments, and they were done so much better that they were actually funny and fun. This game has neither of that. You know, there's no defending it. It's just not fun. It's just bad. And it's not an attack on the game, it's just an observation. You know, this game has a side mission that takes up a lot of time, and, you know, requires you to do it quite a lot if you want to get the achievements and all the items and stuff, which is bad. You know, it's not good. And look at Azura's Wrath. They had a completely tasteless moment where you were ogling a servant while you were getting drunk. And sure, it wasn't the most fun game design, but there's a hilarious moment at the end where you got so drunk you burst, and then you went to grab her tits, and then the other guy punched you in the face. That is funny. You know, that's hilarious. And the biggest problem that this game this game has with that particular mechanic is it's overly long, it isn't particularly fun, and the only humour comes from failing them, and they're almost impossible to fail. Like, I've got all the achievements of pleasing all the ladies, you know, I've done it a whole bunch of times, and I think I failed once. And the reason I failed is because I was watching a TV programme while I was doing it, and I looked across from the screen for a few seconds, and I ended up, you know, losing all the bar. It's just baffling. It's really baffling. And it could have been so good and so much fun and so silly. Like, I think leaning over trying to drop a roofie in the girl's drink would have been a much funnier minigame. And that's even more tasteless because it's almost a rape joke, which people have a very hard time taking funny. But just imagine it with silly music and, you know, like ridiculous, super happy, fun time messages coming up when you do it. Like, it could have been so suggestive and stupid, but instead it's as subtle as a chainsaw. I don't understand it. And one of the big defenses that people have said is, you know, this has been in all of Suda's games. And that's true. It has. But it was done so much better. Like, even Lollipop Chainsaw, a game I will personally tell you is one of the worst games ever made. For me personally. Because I hated it. Even that had some really funny moments between the characters. Some, you know, innuendo, some sexy script writing, some kind of inappropriate sweary moments, which still kind of worked because it fit the aesthetic. And a whole bunch of panty shots. Nothing but fan service. But it suited the game. And I didn't mind it. Same with Shadows of the Damned. Nothing but boner references and dick jokes. But it suited the game. And it was funny. And it was well written. This game has all the potential. It looks great. It's got some cool looking dudes in it. It's got some cool looking things that you do. And then this side mission that just is fucking worthless. And everybody just seems to think it's this, you know, misogynist turn. And before there's even the remotest notion of this tasteless objectification of women, there's this notion that it's not fun. And it's not good. And if a game has something about it that isn't good, it should be said. Because it's not acceptable, you know. And there is a measure of, you know, subjectivism to that. It is a subjective topic. But I think by just looking at all the reviews on several different sites, there's kind of this universal thought that these moments could have been good. They just aren't. And they just leave you with this really dirty taste in your mouth because they don't play well. And I think that's what people are losing sight of. It's not necessarily this whole sexism stuff and this is all, you know, oh, women this, women that, men this, man that. It's not that. It's they aren't good.